the West Side Tennis Club in Forest Hills, New York, CBS Television Sports presents the U.S. Open Tennis Championship. Brought to you by Marlboro Filter Cigarettes. Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro Country. Good afternoon. I'm Bud Collins. The climactic day of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships, Forest Hills in New York. And with me today, two of the great ones. They've been champions here, both here and at Wimbledon. Billie Jean King of Long Beach, California. Jack Kramer of Los Angeles. And Jack Kramer, the men are going to come out to warm up. It'll be Ken Rosewall against Tony Roche for that men's championship.
Right, Bud, and of course both boys in fantastic form. They won their semifinals very easily. I think Rosewall's going to be the sentimental favorite. I like his ability to return left-handed serves. I frankly think he's going to be the winner, and he's going to have an awful lot of help, it seems to me, from that crowd.
Well, Jack, you gave him his first job as a professional 14 years ago, just after he won this tournament for the last time,
right.
1956. You think he can still
I think he can, Bud, but I saw him play the semifinals at Wimbledon. It was awfully tough. It's just how well he serves, as a matter of fact.
We'll see if he can revive 1956. Billie Jean King. Well, Jack, 10 years difference in these two players, and they're now serving their practice serves, so let's go down on the court and take a look at them.
Right.
There's Mike Blanchard.
This match will be the best of 5 sets. Mr. Roche won the toss and is elected to serve first.
So we're live for the men's championship, and we're going to go all the way with Ken Rosewall. Tony Roche limbering up his left arm right there. He was bothered by a sore arm earlier in the season, took a couple of layoffs. He's come back strong. His biggest victory was last month in Boston when he won the United States Professional Championship, $12,000 first prize, by beating Rod Laver in 5 sets after losing 2 of the first 3 sets. Finished strongly, Jack, 6-2, 6-2 over Laver in that U.S. Pro Final.
But he's always been known as perhaps the strongest. They call him actually like a horse. He can go 5 sets every day, 4 or 5 days in a row, and I think this is one of the big stories of the match. He can go the distance. Kenny Rosewall will have to play a little like Gonzalez. He'll have to pick his spots, not really be after every point, use all that 35 years, of which I would say about 27 of them is experience. Should be a great match.
We're leading off now for the championship of the United States. Tony Roche from Tarcutta, Bushtown, out in New South Wales, Australia, serving to the Sydney Slicker, Ken Rosewall. Hey, no, I was calling an ace. I saw chalk. Frank Hammond says fault. Hit the sideline behind the service line.
15 love.
Roche from Tarcutta. Not too big a town. In fact, his phone number there is 1. You can get an idea of the size of Tarcutta.
Very grim-looking Ken Rosewall, and they've got some photographers right on him. Couldn't have been closer.
40 love.
Well, there's the familiar birdie whistle, Forest Hills, signifying the crowd didn't like the call, but it stands.
Game is the Roche. Here's the first game.
Big start for Tony Roche there, Bud. That serve is picking up where it left off yesterday when he annihilated Cliff Ritchie, straight sets. And what he has to do, Tony realizes that he has to mix his serves up. You'll note that the first time he served to Ken, it was an overspin serve, which made Ken miss hit, and it's a difficult thing for a right-hander to come off of playing mostly right-handed players and then go against the left-handed spin. Rosewall did have, I think, a lucky break in a way. He put away Nicky Pilic, the Yugoslav, lefty who won the doubles here, and he got a lot of good practice handling left-handed serves. Now, Rosewall's problem is to try to keep the serve and the volley into the backhand of Tony Roche. If he puts too many into the forehand of Roche, he can be hurt. So Rosewall's behind, love one, trying to equalize matters on serve.
Hit the line.
Yes, sir.
About 15.
First point for Ken Rosewall. Looked like Roche was going for a shutout, bud.
Sometimes wonder about that. Takes you a while to get a point. Wonder if you're ever going to get one. Rosewall.
30-15.
Roche, 25 years old. He's 10 years younger.
Out. 40-15. Ken Rosewall. Games are 1-0.
That's the way Rosewall played lots of points at Wimbledon, but he stayed back on the second serve. He tries to mix them up with Roche, who comes once again.
Versus
Good position to see that spinning left-handed serve of Roche's.
A real screwball.
ball.
And that was overspin. He didn't hit that one too hard. Just clear the court. That woke everybody up. What a point.
Every seat filled, every seat responding on that one.
Ball. Out. 15-0.
There you see the effect of a high left-handed kicking serve. Comes off of the racket. You miss-hit so many of those when you're a right-handed player. Kenny Rosewall gave it the Segura and almost came up with a good shot. Of course, he was a left-handed cricket player, and that's the way he would have handled the cricket game.
40-15.
Rosewall plays golf left-handed too, bud.
And Laver plays right-handed.
Hit, but good.
He got it. 2-1 for Tony Roche, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Roche leads 2 games to 1.
Yearly styling changes are good enough for most automobiles, but not good enough for Mercedes-Benz. We designed Mercedes-Benz with honest simplicity that will endure. For Plato said, beauty of styling and harmony and grace and good rhythm depend on simplicity. That's why it's not good enough to compare a Mercedes-Benz with automobiles whose styles change every year. It's more fitting to compare a Mercedes-Benz with a beautiful building that was designed honestly, simply, to last for decades. See a Mercedes-Benz at your dealers.
So
15 love.
Bud
the ball
Collins.
was an ace.
Yep. If I can update it for us, we're in the fourth game now. The first serve that Kenny Rosewall served actually was inside the line. Tony Roche felt it was an ace. And the umpire, Mike Blanchard, decided to call it an ace as Mr. Buman on the line decided that he couldn't see the ball. So it's 15 love, and it was the right decision.
Love.
But because this is going to come up an awful lot, the man in the chair can never reverse the decision. The linesman has the full rights to hold to his decision. We always hope when he makes a bad mistake that he'll reverse it so that they can either play two or let the man in the chair at that time call what he felt it was.
Kenny Rosewall, playing just as confidently as he did yesterday. He was devastating in the semifinals in beating the Wimbledon champion, John Newcomb, 6-3, 6-4, 6-3. Roche beat Cliff Ritchie in his semifinal, 6-2, 7-6, 6-1.
Out. Love 15.
Let.
First service.
Tony Roche wasn't limbered up by then. He certainly got enough exercise in that point.
Good serve.
15, 30.
That.
First service.
That's the call. Brooks Keffer, seated middle left of your screen. Net court judge felt the tremor as the ball touched the net. It's played again.
Uh-oh.
Tony Roche now in a spot.
15,
First
40.
trouble of the match, a break point against Tony. Australian against Australian.
Waltz.
Well, that's Roche's fine shot, backhand volley. Still a break point.
Ace.
Roche really mixing those serves up. He's come in twice to the strength of Rosewall to get two of the big 3 points. That's the line. Right on it.
Deuce.
Rosewall. Keeping the ball in play. Fantastic points on grass.
Oh, boy. Roach really playing those volleys very deep. And there's the spin, mixed him up.
And there's the game for Tony Roche. 3 games to 2.
Roche leads 3 games to 2.
But we really had a great point here. As Tony Roche comes in, this is our slow motion action. Good return by Kenny Rosewall. Kenny really hits a ball high in the racket and gets a slow cross court out of it, and Roche catches up with it, goes down the line. Now watch where Rosewall decides to play it. Back down the line, just ticked the edge, and what a shot. Tonight, CBS presents its last NFL preseason game before launching a full schedule of regular season games starting Sunday, September 20th. Tonight, you'll see the New York Jets take on the Dallas Cowboys in the Cotton Bowl at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time. And, of course, that puts Joe Namath against Bob Hayes and company. That ought to be awful good, Bud.
Should be a very good one.
Right.
People want to see if Joe's knees hold up or go wobbly on him.
Okay, Kenny Rosewall trying to stay even here. It's 2-3 opening set.
15 love. All.
15 all. They've played 3 times this year. Rosewall has won 2 of 3, including a 4-set victory at Wimbledon, where Kenny was a finalist.
Rosewall has a problem on the volley. He really would rather play most of those shots into the backhand corner, that is to say, against Roche's forehand. He tries to change direction. He's making some errors. Well left.
30 all.
That's always the problem of a righty going in there against a left-hander, because they have to completely change the direction of their favorite shots. Ken Rosewall's backhand cross-court volleys, his strength, he has to sort of give it up. Oh, bad break for Kenny. A lead ball that bounced over his racket.
30-40.
So the break point now against Rosewall. First pinch he's been in.
This is where he has to get that first serve in.
Got it!
Game.
The dust of the baseline rose, and Edward Tolstoy held out his hands in a safe signal.
4 games to 2.
Now we pause 5 seconds for station identification. Kenny Rosewall has been broken.
Out. 15 love. Out.
Just long.
30 love.
Jack Starr calling loud and clearly from that baseline. Oh, and there you see Roche's, wow, asset. The backhand volley, 2 good ones.
40 love. Game.
It's all right.
Right on.
5-2 for Tony Roche, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
Love 15.
Back live at the U.S. Open Tennis. Kenny Rosewall has just lost the first point. Volleying into the net, love 15.
He shows his displeasure after missing that ball, and that's right the area where all the photographers like to get their shot. As he comes towards the net, there's a batch of about a dozen photographers just to his right. Beauty. There's the
Photographers, Russ Adams, the lead photographer in the picture. Rosewall composing himself, 2 points from losing the first set.
Out. 15-30.
Suddenly,
15-40.
set point against Ken Rosewall. Saves one. Still set point.
Kenny very shaky on the volley. He's not very confident at all. He's playing it too carefully. A little tight out there. It's out.
And there goes the set.
Roche, 6 games to 2.
Tony Roche, now you hear the crowd in the background yelling at the press. The gentlemen of the press in the marquee area to the right of the court, some of them typing. There's no way they'll stop typing. They have to meet their deadlines. It's just a part of the business of playing in this West Side Stadium. You must forget the typewriters. Fine shot.
There's our marquee, and back behind, that's the patrons there. There's about 4 rows of tennis fans who pay a great deal to sit there. And behind them are the umpires, linesmen, and of course the gentlemen who send out the information about the great tournament. And their typewriters are making the noise. Kenny Rosewall lost 4 games in a row here. He's got to pull himself together. Oh.
Bad shot by Rosewall, and he doesn't like it.
Well, he rushed himself there, Bud. He saw that Roche had slipped, and he wanted to get up and play the ball quickly before Roche could get back in position, and he just completely rushed himself out of it. Beauty.
That backhand of Rosewall.
15-30.
See Kenny working himself up.
Out. 30 all.
Rosewall's bid to start turning the match back in his direction. He has the break point. Out's the call, and Rosewall breaks. And he has the first game. We'll have more of this U.S. Open tennis from Forest Hills in just a moment.
I'm Hank Stram with tight end Freddie Arbanis. We'll demonstrate the stay moist power of Rapid Shave. Here's Freddie lathered up. He's going through his workout. I'll stop him now.
Just getting warmed up, Coach.
Right, but how's the Rapid Shave?
Still moist.
Yeah, it sure is. For a really moist shave, get a Rapid Shave. Regular lime and menthol mint. It stays moist all shave long.
When this little anti-pollution valve gets dirty, it's bad for driving and worse for breathing. But mobile detergent gasoline helps clean inside your engine, so you can kiss your dirty little engine part goodbye.
You're absolutely helpless, genius, but you're definitely on the right track.
Help clean your engine with mobile detergent gasoline. A cleaner engine can mean cleaner air.
Ken Rosewall, second serve of the opening point. Let.
Both players felt a let was called, but we're not going to get one. I guess so, Mr. Keffer.
Keffer, right. Is on the net cord. There's Brooks Keffer of Philadelphia. Greatest hands in town. He's got to feel those lets as they touch the top of the net.
Funny thing, he didn't want to call it, but Tony quit playing the point, and that's dangerous to do. If you think you hear a let and you're in a tennis match, you better play it until somebody officially concludes that point, because you can really be sadder but wiser. That goes for all close calls as well. Play everything until you hear the call of out. All good. Watching these two boys play, Kenny Rosewall plays at a rather the same pace all the time. Yesterday he was always seeming waiting for John Newcomb, but today Roche always is ready, and looks like Ken's a slow player. And that's meaning only in time.
30-15.
See Roche always in position first. Beauty.
Kenny Rosewall serving with wood. Roche using aluminum.
Right on.
On that line.
40-30.
Kenny Rosewall has stopped the four-game streak that gave Roche the first set, and now he's off on a streak of his own, winning 2 games. And Roche hits the big bender at him. Kenny Rosewall has won 5 out of 9 matches against Roche in the 3 years Roche has been a pro. Top spin, but it will go way out. Aced him. First ace for Tony Roche.
30.
Game for Tony Roche. 2-1 for Rosewall, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
This is Big Al Hurt saying that you need only two things when you go fishing. Lots of Miller High Life and a little bit of luck. Hey, look at that, man. Big Daddy. That deserves a Miller. Hearty, robust, deep down good. Miller High Life, the champagne of beers.
A dry blanket, hot cup of coffee, a good smoke. The simple things mean a lot out here in Marlboro country.
Ken Rosewall, the server, has just won the first point. 15-love. He leads 2-1, second set. Roche won the first set. That's classic Rosewall. Beautiful balance, sliding across for the backhand volley.
But I feel the court's playing extra well, virtue of the fact that every time they put a ball at their opponent's feet, why the half volley comes up very nicely, so it's firm and hard. A lot of deception when you're playing a lefty. I hated to play him, but I wish they'd have barred him.
Well, there are more good left-handed players around now, Jack, than ever before in history. Something to do with air pollution, I think, that we have more left-handers brought into tennis. We just don't need them. When you play against them, it's awful. Beautiful. And he shoved Rosewall right back to deuce.
And all of the points that Tony's won been placements. Kenny Rosewall moving a little stiffer today. Notice when he goes for a short ball, he just doesn't seem to get up to it like he was yesterday. It's going to be good. Now that's a shot. Bud, we saw some real experience there. Kenny had to let the ball drop on the lob, but you notice he hit a nice, smooth overhead type stroke and got in behind it to get back in control of the point. A lot of kids stay back, and that's wrong. Once you get a ball over your opponent's head on that lob, take advantage of it and get up and get into the net position. Fine shot.
They've been playing good strokes. We've been... Now you hear the people yelling out with the typewriters. Freedom of the press dictates that we must be allowed to write during a match, though. You can't finish your stories if you're on deadline, so they'll have to live with the typewriters. They do everywhere else they go.
I think it's a sign. I think it's a sign of the times, Bud. Everybody wants to strike about something. Ladies are mad at us. Umpires want money. Now the fans want the press thrown out.
I've been in that position a few times. Tony Roche is the server.
Kenny's a little angry at the bounce of the court, but what Roche did was pull the ball into his body. He served with a lot of spin, actually came in towards Ken, and that forces him to miss it. Got to get away from that ball when they're spinning it to you. Perfect.
Equally as good. What a shot.
Those are two fantastic shots. Kenny was right on it. He felt the ball was going to go out. The boys aren't using the grass anymore. They're just using the chalk. Everything's on the line.
Shot-making fiesta.
Just missed.
Yay, Roche.
3-2 for Rosewall. We'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships coming up from Forest Hills in just a moment.
Oh, hi there. This big thing here is an engine. And this little thing inside the big thing keeps the air cleaner. Now, when this little thing gets very dirty, it can make the whole big engine go.
The genius is trying to tell you that a dirty engine can mean dirty air, and that there is something you can do about it.
Oh, hi. This big thing here is an engine.
Help clean your engine with mobile detergent gasoline. A cleaner engine can mean cleaner air.
To welcome you aboard Qantas Airways.
Bribing people with things to eat and drink and even things for their paws. So they'll fly Qantas to Europe, Australia. Me, I hate Qantas.
Ken Rosewall goes to the line to begin serving the 6th game of the second set. He leads 3-2, but Roche won the first set. It's best of 5.
He's down, but it was out. There's what happens once in a while on a dry grass court. It's a little slippery. The boys both use the type of yachting shoes. There's some grooves on the soles. Gives them good traction. Still not as good a footing as you can get on a good concrete court.
A lot different than a year ago when Roche was in the final losing to Rod Laver and they had to be swamp runners. The place was practically underwater.
That's right. Rod had the big edge because Roche couldn't use spikes that day. First double the match, Bud. And Ken Rosewall now apparently agrees with the fans who want those typewriters silenced. Pretty loud typewriters. They've got to be at least 50 yards away from the kids.
Well, it's such beautiful literature. It's coming through strongly and clearly.
Especially if you're...
It's beautiful because I'm not down there writing.
Oh, what a slice on that. Kenny Rosewall, who I don't think is in any injury position there, but when he comes into the net on his backhand, he puts an awful lot of slice. It's like a good chip and run shot in golf, and it really hugs the ground on grass. Fooled him.
40-30.
Rosewall moving very deliberately. Wants to save his energy. He's not going to waste a drop of it. Out. Wide. Jack, we know that grass is becoming a passé surface. I don't think that grass will be around here much longer, but we must say that Owen Sheridan and his crew here at West Side have done a great job in keeping it up as well as they have.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
But it's just no longer a good surface for tennis.
Well, there's just too many deviations of the bounce. It's the traditional game, and
good. Drilled him.
that's the way the game of tennis should be played. Absolute control on all shots and with great speed. Good. We're seeing a Rosewall.
Hitting his forehand better than he has in a long time, Jack.
Well, he's moved into it, and he got around. He got those feet around so that he could play the ball away from his body. What a lob. It's a beauty.
15-40.
Tony Roche backed up with break points against him. Down a break already in this set. Saves one.
13-40.
Great save by Roche.
The voice you hear calling the scores, the umpire Mike Blanchard, Scottsdale, Arizona, teaching pro at the Paradise Valley Country Club.
Advantage, Roche. Game, Roche.
Ace, second one. 4-3 for Rosewall. We'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Meet the Pinto, just born. Pinto, the new little carefree car from Ford. Priced like a small economy import, but you'd never know to look at it. It's averaged over 25 miles per gallon in simulated city and suburban driving. But it's frisky, with a wider stance than any little import, so you won't be pushed around by the wind. With high-backed bucket seats in front and comfortable room all around. And Pinto's strong, built to run and run and run, with little servicing, little noise, little expense. Pinto, a little carefree car to put a little kick in your life. A little better idea from Ford.
Rosewall to the line. Jack, there wasn't much on that serve, but he places it so well, and right into that backhand corner.
Well, the funny thing against Tony's type of a backhand return, if you come in slower, he has to make a longer stroke to get speed, and he's going to make more errors. He likes to block it like that. He likes speed. Good. Colleague Billie Jean King thinks she spotted a little bit of a limp in Kenny Rosewall off the right leg. He's been down 3 times. We'll watch closely.
40.
It looked like a little bit of a hobble there as he attempted to pull up, seeing the ball go into the net.
Well, he got through the game to 5-3, all right.
Rosewall leads 5 games to 3.
They redistribute new balls.
That's right, they change on the first 7 and then every 9 games thereafter. They allow 2 games for the warm-up period, which is supposed to be limited to roughly 4 minutes. And there's Tony advises Ken the new balls are in action.
Ace. 3 aces for Roche.
And Kenny really is moving rather peculiarly. He moves to his right. It does look like that he might be in a little spot of trouble here. Yep, he's kicking that right leg around. Nothing wrong with that one.
30-15.
Rosewall, intent, receiving.
All.
2 points away from the set. Kenny Rosewall.
Out. 40-30. Roche.
5-4 for Rosewall. We'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships coming up from Forest Hills in just a moment.
Long before Marlboro country, the West was New York City.
Yeah, the West was New York City 200 years ago. Then it started moving westward with a long, long way to go. Oh, the West moved west heading for Chicago, but it never ever settled down. It just kept on moving westward toward the land of the big sundown. Across the wide Missouri, across the mountains high, the West moved west till it came to rest beneath the blue Pacific sky.
Till today, the West is everywhere, and everywhere is Marlboro country.
Everywhere from New York City to the blue Pacific sky.
Come to Marlboro country.
Ken Rosewall. Winning the first point. He is serving for the second set.
You see there an error by Roche, and what happens when a ball hits the chalk, which is on the grass, it slows the bounce. Tony thought the ball was going to shoot through, and it just stopped on him.
30 love.
And Roche is very unhappy with the way he's returning backhands today, but it's true, he likes more speed. Against the right-handers, they throw a big amount of slice and more speed to his backhand, and he's more comfortable playing against that type of stroke. This nothing serve, which Kenny's coming up with, is causing him the problems. Bad bounce. 3 set points. 3 set points for Kenny Rosewall.
Ken Rosewall, deep in concentration. Playing the finest tennis all year for him, and in many years, as a matter of fact. It's out, there's the set. And the match is all even.
6 games to 4. Sets are 1-all.
Kenny Rosewall.
But incidentally, each one of those sets took 24 minutes, although one took 10 games, nearly 8. There was more close games in the first set.
15 love. Out. 15 all.
Missed it.
30-15.
Not.
First service.
Beauty, right on the line. And there's a liner for you, too, an ace. Roche is fourth.
40-30. Oh.
And Roche has the first game of the third set, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Unbearable.
Pleasure, madam.
That is what it is, unbearable. Because the more Qantas spoils people, the more people fly Qantas to Europe and Australia. And me. Morris. Oh, I hate Qantas.
You saw what? I'm Hank Stram with tight end Freddie Arbanis. We'll demonstrate the stay moist power of Rapid Shave. Here's Freddie lathered up. He's going through his workout. I'll stop him now.
Just getting warmed up, Coach.
Right, but how's the Rapid Shave?
Still moist.
Yeah, it sure is. For a really moist shave, get Rapid Shave. Regular lime and menthol mint. It stays moist all shave long.
Second serve, first point. Rosewall, the server.
Out. 15 love.
Ken Rosewall can continue to keep that first serve or the second one very deep into the backhand of Roche. He's going to hold serve.
Ball. Love.
That's the way to do it, Tony. Tony's been shoving his return instead of hitting it. Uses the right stroke in practice.
Roche going within himself saying, there's a nickel serve and I can't hit it back over the net.
3 errors in this game.
Ken Rosewall. Games are 1-all.
Kenny Rosewall hadn't lost his serve in 2 matches until today. Didn't lose it once against John Newcomb.
Out. 15 love.
Tony Roche didn't lose his once yesterday against Cliff Ritchie either.
That's
so
right.
These two fellows are airtight on holding serve. Shot.
What a reaction by Roche.
30 love.
Of course, Tony's played him 9 times. He knows that Kenny likes to come back into that forehand corner off the volley, so he just stayed there.
Ball bounced off the leg of Titus Sparrow, Boston center linesman. He's had a tough tournament. Arthur Ashe kicked the ball off his head the other day.
40 love.
We ought to mention it's like the all-star of tennis umpires and linesmen here on the finals. You look around the court, you see the top fellas in the game sitting there.
They're the
shot.
Ken Roche.
2-1 for Tony Roche. We'll have more of the U.S. Open tennis from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
You got up before the sun, traveled all day long, but nothing can go wrong, 'cause you're going home, going home. But will it be the same as you remember in the shadows of your mind? Will it all be just the way you remember the place you left 1,000 nights behind?
Wherever you go, that's Marlboro country. Marlboro country is everywhere.
You're bound to end up home, going home, going home.
Come to Marlboro country.
Rosewall.
Out. 15 love.
Let's.
Ball. Love.
But there's no doubt about it, Kenny Rosewall has a problem with that right leg. As we watched him sit down in the changeover, he's stretching it out to give it some release. He's moving well.
Kind of problem my game needs, Jack.
Unfortunately, when you do hurt yourself, and if it's not a major one, and you're very heated out there, all the ligaments and muscles will be able to still perform.
Ken Rosewall. Games are 2-all.
Kenny's having a very easy time holding serve. That's 2 love games, or 8 points in a row for him. Just going to take a little bit of time as a ball boy.
Rosewall backhand, and because of the new regulations this year that there will be no intermission after the 3rd set, Jack, that should be good for Kenny.
It would
because
be.
He can keep moving.
It wouldn't stiffen up. Good volley.
That's Kenny Rosewall, all right, when you see a shot like that.
15-30.
Kenny just bending over after a fantastic backhand. Everything good about it but the direction.
30-all.
Normally he'd hit that ball short cross court. He decided to fool him and go for a lob. And that's the way to do it.
30-40.
Break point now.
Here's where Tony Roche has been awfully tough. He's been down several break points in that opening set, and he always gets the big serve in.
Oh,
great
what a
return.
backhand return.
Ken Rosewall. Rosewall leads 3-2.
And there's the Grand Prix of tennis. Actually, the official name is the Pepsi Lawn Tennis Association Grand Prix, and you can see the score of the various players. Actually, it's an idea where about 20 of the major championships around the world have banded together and have awarded points to the players on each individual tournament based upon prize money, prestige, and of course good conditions. And at the present time there are 6 leaders. And of course the match between Ken Rosewall and Tony Roche is very important. That's the standings they have now. The winner of this match will receive 15 Grand Prix points, which would put Kenny Rosewall in the lead over Cliff Ritchie. Tony Roche picked up 15. If he were the winner, he'd go to 36. The runner-up in this match gets 10 points. It's quite exciting, Bud, and $150,000 extra is on the line. The winner takes down 25, down to 20th position. And they're having an additional Masters event in Tokyo in early December where an additional $50,000 will be put up for the top 6 players. Quite an event.
Right here, Kenny Rosewall serving. He's just broken through, so he now is the leader in this match. 2-6, 6-4, 3-2.
15 love.
And the prize for this match, not only the championship of the United States, but $20,000, the biggest in tennis.
That's 10 points in a row off the serve of Kenny Rosewall, who's really just ladling the ball in there, very slow on the backhand, and Tony can't seem to get the ball in play at all. And he's doing very little different on each stroke. Missed it. Well, that broke a long run.
30-15.
Heavy topspin forehand, and that does bother Kenny a little on the volley.
Out.
40-15.
Well, a heavy topspin shot bothers anybody on the volley. It's something that you really have to try to play a little carefully. A flat shot, you can hit the volley much harder than you can if it's got that lift. Beauty. First one that he's really taken a whack at.
40-30.
And Roche has a fine backhand stroke, but he prefers really to shove the ball back just to get it in play. And when Rosewall is serving the first one in, he should take a few more chances.
Aim, Rosewall.
Just a great volley. 4-2 now for Rosewall.
Rosewall leads 4 games to 2.
Rosewall, who will be 36 in November.
Love 15.
Everybody said Rosewall was too old to win a major championship when he fell at Wimbledon. He was in the final there for the first time in 16 years. Couldn't make it against John Newcomb in 5 sets. Right now, he's the leader. Great.
Real anticipation by Tony Roche. Actually, Kenny very seldom plays the shot down the line from that position. Well, that short chip shot. Kenny Rosewall has, of course, most control, I think, that we've had in many years off the backhand. Not the power of a Donald Budge, but precise more like the Bobby Riggs or Frank Parker type backhand. Hardly ever misses. Good.
Yes.
Rosewall trying to get a double service break here. Scores 2-4 in the third set.
Double fault.
First double fault.
Advantage Rosewall.
Tony Roche. And here's a break point for Rosewall. A critical point indeed for Roche, because if he's broken, Rosewall will be serving for the set. Beauty. No chance for Rosewall on that one.
Yes. Out. Advantage Roche.
Kenny Rosewall playing every point. He'd like to get 2 service breaks. He knows his own serve is sometimes vulnerable. Looked like it was a fault. Kenny didn't play it. Called good.
So the game goes to Roche, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Some people say I was crazy to spend more than $8,000 for our Mercedes-Benz. But when my wife and kids are out there by themselves on a day like today, that car is the best investment I ever made.
Well, the house is full, Jack. Nearly 15,000 people. It's a tribute to the 3-man operating committee responsible for this: Joe Coleman, Billy Talbert, Gene Scott. They've been the guiding lights behind this tournament. Tony Roche receiving now. Ken Rosewall will serve 4-3.
And new balls. And he played a tough game that last one. Good start. Good start for Roche.
Love 15. Let.
There's a let. Detected by Brooks Keffer, net court judge, who earlier won the McGovern Award. That's the top umpiring award in tennis.
Love 30.
Now Roche's chance to get back into the set. He's down 1 break.
2 good returns of serve there, Bud. Both backhands.
There's another one.
Love 40.
Well, Kenny was guilty there of really not pulling up quick enough so that he had time to play an easy approach shot. He got trapped to play the half volley. So it's love 40, 3 break points. Good.
Well, that's the best way to handle a break point, with an ace.
15, 40.
Kenny very seldom serves aces.
2 today.
Couple, which is about his average.
Ball.
Oh, Ken.
Hey, Mr. Roche.
So the return breaks him. The set is even.
Games are 4 all.
4 all.
Ken Rosewall played a rather confused game there. 2 short balls. He really didn't get to properly, and then he let that one land about 2 feet in. So we're back to level. New ball game.
Love 15.
Kenny will really knock himself For a long time, should he lose his set, having 4-3, his own serve with new balls.
Ace number 7 for Roche.
15 all.
He had 11 yesterday against Cliff Ritchie.
Out. 30, 15.
Net.
Let. Versus.
What a point.
All. Out. 40, 30.
Now you see once again, Kenny Rosewall actually would have had that serve had it not touched the line, but when it hit the chalk, it just lifted on him, bounced straight up.
Tony Roche, who put so much into this serve.
Well, we had such a great rally. Let's play that one again on our slow motion video disc here. As Kenny makes a great return, which Roche plays back down the center. Kenny stops very nicely. Throws up a well-disguised lob, and you can see how far over Roche has to go to get it. He can't put it away as Kenny just gets to it. And in comes Tony deciding to play the backhand as Rosewall has to half volley, almost an impossible type stroke. Here comes a left-handed slice, and there's Rosewall. Plays it back cross-court, and properly in comes Roche. Now here's a delicate shot. Kenny just dinks it right over the net. Roche tries to play a touch back and into the net to lose the point.
Fantastic tennis.
That, of course, is what has made Rosewall so great. He can scamper around. He covers an amazing amount of ground. And when he gets to the ball, well, he can play it back to a difficult position. But what a job he has ahead of him now, as he has to save his serve here to get to 5-all. And, of course, we're approaching that position, which has made this tournament so exciting. Sudden death. If 6-all, we'll go into our tiebreaker.
Fault's called. The crowd disagrees with the whistles. Herb Lewis on the line thought it was a fault.
Back edge of the line.
15.
Rosewall in a set game.
So dangerous to lose the first point at this type of a game because it allows your opponent really to take a little extra whack at it. Good serve.
30, 15.
One thing, since Tony solved that problem, he's been returning the backhand much better, Bud Collins. He's letting the racket go forward and through. Good serve.
Hey, Mr. Rosewall. Games are 5-all.
5-all. Ken Rosewall. The doomsday stroking machine.
Oh!
Little indecision by Roche.
15 all.
Didn't quite make up his mind to close in on that ball. Tony's one of the fellows who puts the first ball in his pocket. He only serves with one ball in his hand. Feels that he has a psychological edge, knowing that he has to get that ball, the first one, in. Gets the second one out fast if he misses.
Ball.
Yep, it's just like a follow-through. That hand goes in there and whips out the ball.
Bangs it off Titus Sparrow again. Titus is going to collect Brew Cross around here before it's over.
And Kenny Rosewall saying he almost had a coronary as he let that ball bounce.
15-30.
Lucky for him it was out, so now Rosewall has a good chance here. 5 balls to score, 1 set apiece.
Tremendous overhead by Roche. And he needed it to get to 30 all.
30 all.
A lot of people might wonder, had Kenny thrown the racket in the ball and the ball got up back over the court, but of course he'd have lost the point anyway. You have to have the racket in your hand. Out.
That was a great backhand.
30-40.
Break point against Roche. One he can't afford to lose.
Oh. Watch it.
Roche.
And well might Kenny be unhappy with himself. He made the great play, had the volley up in the air, just chose the wrong side. But what a good serve on that second one by Roche. Really deep.
Advantage Roche.
Ken Rosewall has a weakness. It has to be that forehand. When he has to move into his forehand corner, he's usually late, and he doesn't let the racket go forward. He tries to pull the topspin. Doesn't seem to have it.
Oh.
Beauty. Bud, if we had $1 for every one I've seen Ken Rosewall do off that backhand, you and I could retire together.
You'd be richer than you are, Jack.
Great shot.
Advantage Roche.
Right in the corner.
Kenny's down.
Game, Mr. Roche.
6-5 for Roche. We'll return to Forest Hills for more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships after this pause for station identification.
Enjoy the fabulous Harlem Globetrotters working their basketball wizardry in a special tonight at 7, 6 Central on CBS.
Well, they're like clockwork, 50 seconds.
Bud Collins, along with Jack Kramer and Billie Jean King at Forest Hills. We're live, and so is this match. Kenny Rosewall serving at 5-6.
And if he holds serve, we're into sudden death.
Right. Only two things can happen. He can lose his serve and the set, 7-5, or he can reach 6-all when sudden death is invoked. A tiebreaker, best of 9 points. There's a let. And if it's 6-all, first player to reach 5 points wins the set.
Double fault.
Rosewall's second double fault. It pains him.
It's a bad time to do it. Of course, any double fault hurts you, but the first point in a position where you've got to hold serve to stay in the set, it gives Roche a great opportunity. Kenny has just started a little bit of lowering the toss of his serve. He's not getting up quite as high as he was earlier.
Good deep volley by Rosewall.
15-all.
Very little margin of safety on Ken Rosewall's serve. He's not very big. He's got to get that.
Out.
Frank Hammond is on the line.
15.
I don't know whether they feel it was a let ball or just a bad call, but
Hammond is communicating. There's Frank Hammond on that service line. The man who hangs way out like a ship's figurehead when he calls the service line. You'd think he'd fall right on his nose. Great balance in the chair. Best balanced man I've ever seen in a chair.
strangely enough, that stance allows him to call him very well because he's considered to perhaps to be the best of the service linesmen.
So it's 30-all. Ken Rosewall, the server, is 2 points away from losing the set. If you look at it Roche's way, or he's 2 points from holding and going into sudden death.
And that serve has started to shorten up, Bud. It's just not getting deep enough. Tony's crowding it now.
Second ball, Roche moves in just inside the baseline. Good return.
30-40.
And he has Rosewall at the set point.
Once again, the lack of length. That ball's bouncing 6 to 8 feet inside the service line, and Roche is able to do what he wants with it, and this is set point. One set apiece, a big point.
I think, Jack, that Rosewall hit an out ball during the rally, but he could take no chances.
You're right. That one backhand of Tony's would have hit the fence, but Kenny elected to play it anyway.
That goes out. Set point once again.
Good return by Tony Roche.
Advantage Roche.
Second ball, Roche inside the baseline again. Touch of a surgeon. Kenny Rosewall. Good recovery by Roche.
Advantage Roche.
Another set point, third one.
Tony really made a great lob off of a good approach shot. He was lucky to get to the ball and came up with a deep one.
I think the chalk got in Tony's eyes on that serve. Puffed up.
Deuce.
Well, Tony's returning every serve, and on the set points, Kenny's standing firm. Great approach shot there.
That's the call from Brooks Kepper.
You notice we're getting a lot of let balls from Kenny Rosewall's serve, and that's due to the fact that he's just not getting that ball high enough on the toss. Good one.
He feels a little better now. Game point for Rosewall. He's warded off 3 set points in this game.
Well, I'm not sitting behind the court, Bud, but I would have to feel that that would have been very close to being out.
Looked it. 4th deuce for Rosewall, whose hair stays black through the years despite all these occasions. I think he'd look like Santa Claus by now.
Oh.
What a half volley!
That might be the finest point that we've seen in the championship, Bud.
Can't remember a better one than that in a long time.
What a finish.
He missed it.
Game, Mr. Rosewall. Games are 6-all.
Now, Kenny Rosewall
Mr. Roche to serve first in the
can't exactly relax. There's the red flag. This is not Moscow. This is the new radical revolutionary year of tennis, however. Sudden death. The red flags come out all over. Best of 9-point series. First one to reach 5. Roche serves the first 2 points. Love one. The scoring changes. No more 15, 30, 40, or deuce. Just straight single-point scoring. It's love one.
Ball.
First 1 to 5 wins the set. Well, it was a fluky return.
Two love, Rosewall.
A bad return, a desperation return by Rosewall, and yet Roche bungled it. He's down 2 points to none. Roche has not lost sudden death yet. 3 for 3
Neither's
throughout
Ken
the tournament.
Rosewall.
Kenny's lost one.
Did he?
Jack.
Oh.
2 of 3, lost one to Pillage.
Oh, that's right.
Kenny Rosewall now has the serve. 2 points to none.
He's got a tremendous edge. He gets to serve 5 out of the last 7 points. These 2 and the last 3 if necessary.
Net. Let again. And Arthur Ashe had remarked how eerie and silent this stadium gets during sudden death. He's never heard Forest Hills so quiet. Two points to 1. Big break for Tony Roche. Tony, 4 points from winning the set. Kenny, 3 points.
And he just won't get that toss up in the air. Everything he's missing on the serve is into the net.
3 points to 1 for Kenny. We'll have more of the U.S. Open from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Last week, John Bienick had his state auto inspection. They inspected his brakes. They inspected his windshield glass. They inspected his windshield wipers and washers. They inspected his horn. They inspected his headlights and his front end alignment. But they never inspected his shock absorbers. Many states never do. Most people never do. What worries us is we don't know how many accidents were caused last year because of mushy, worn-out shock absorbers that might have made folks lose control. Maybe it was only 1 in 50. Maybe it was only 1 in 50,000. But even if it was only 1, that's 1 too many for us. At Monroe, we make shock absorbers, and we know they can wear out. When was the last time you had your shock absorbers inspected?
Back live, Tony Roche at 1 point to 3. He's passed. Now this is set point against Tony Roche, and a lot of them. 1-4. Net.
Ball.
He saves the set point with the overhead. And the serve goes to Rosewall, who has the serve now for the last 3 points if needed. This is another set point for Rosewall on his serve. 4 points to 2. 1 point away. Roche does not want to relinquish it. Down the line wide. Kenny Rosewall has the set in the tiebreaker.
7 games to 6.
Rosewall now leading 2 sets to 1. He won the tiebreaker 5 points to 2. The set is scored 7 points to 6. Sudden death tiebreaker. The invention of Jimmy Van Allen, the Newport, Rhode Island Bolshevik. He used to run those tennis tournaments down there, and apparently the marathon matches, deuce sets, interrupted the cocktail hour at Newport. They had to devise a way to shorten the matches, run the tournament on schedule, and Jimmy Van Allen came up with sudden death, and you're seeing it for the first time ever in an American championship. This is the 4th tournament to use sudden death. The U.S. Pro in Boston, Marlboro Open at Orange.
Double fault.
3rd double fault for Rosewall. The Pennsylvania Open in Philadelphia used it, but this is the first time a U.S. Open championship has used sudden death. Oh, great angle. Wonderful angle.
Love 40.
Kenny Rosewall certainly doesn't want to get off to a bad start, although he's leading 2 sets to 1 here. Opening game's very important.
Saves one of the break points.
40.
It's always hard to keep yourself up after you've come off the pace like he did. He saved 3 set points, and he's just playing a little let-down game. He's got to get back to deuce here if he can.
Saves another.
30-40.
3rd break point.
And Roche really making Kenny come up with good volleys to win these points because Tony's return of serve has been terrific.
The overhead saves it. They're at deuce.
Tennis really a game of depth. You can see that on that volley, if you can put it close to the baseline, the opponent can't do too much. They've got to lob or take a wild swing at one.
Advantage, Roche.
Funny thing about Rosewall's play today, when Roche hits the ball short, that's when Kenny's been making the errors, and he's always really been superb at playing half volleys or short balls into good approaches. Point for the break.
That'll go out. Deuce again.
And Roche not convinced that serve was good.
Looked a little long to me,
Yes,
Jack.
it did. He's got a great disposition out there. He forgets any adverse thing that comes along, bad calls or some patchy play, stays right with it.
Advantage, Rosewall.
Ken Rosewall pulls out of that game, and we'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
This is Marlboro country. Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
Hi, Al Hurt here saying Miller makes it right. So for a glass of beer that's really deep down good, come on, make your move to Miller.
Tony Roche is trailing 2-1, and Rosewall has won the first game of the fourth set.
Amazing what an even pace these boys play at. Each of the changeovers, roughly 50 to 55 seconds. There you see a champion. He realizes Tony is just a little bit closer to being on the ropes if he can get these 2 points. Love 30.
Ball.
Tony Roche. The match starting to slip away if he loses this service game, Jack. 3 break points.
Well, Rosewall was down love 40 on his serve. He overran it.
15-40.
Still break point. Same position in the opening game of this fourth set. Rosewall pulled out. Missed it.
That's out.
He leads 2 games to love.
First 2 games. It's a little different having those break points when Kenny Rosewall is returning.
That's right.
Toughest guy in the game to serve to, isn't he?
Righto, and it's an hour and 42 minutes, and these boys have really played it to the hilt.
Underspin lob.
Perfect.
Oh. Ken Rosewall. Out lobbing Roche. Tony Roche, who was 11 years old, undoubtedly remembers reading about the last time Ken Rosewall won this tournament in Tarcut, Australia. He was reading the papers when they came down from Wagga Wagga. That was 14 years ago. And Rosewall,
30-15.
still at it, unchanged, looks the same. He's the Dorian Gray of tennis, I think, yeah.
Great backhand of Roche's there as Ken Rosewall saw him drop the head. He thought he was going to go over the ball cross court, and Tony waited, had Kenny going the wrong way. Oh, what a shot.
Tremendous return.
That's why Roche's so tough. Looked like Kenny was going to hold serve easy here. Now Roche has got the break point. Two terrific backhands.
Roche, runner-up last year to Rod Laver. Ken Rosewall, champion in 1956.
That day, Rosewall.
That. Very low service toss, Jack.
Yep, it's getting lower and lower, but he's serving very few doubles, only 3.
For Rosewall. We'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Mercedes-Benz announces a better way for you to see Europe. It's the Mercedes-Benz European Delivery Plan. Order your Mercedes-Benz now at European prices. Then pick it up when you arrive in Europe this summer. Really enjoy your visit at your own pace, on your own timetable. Let your Mercedes-Benz dealer show you how much you can save. He'll handle all the details. Can you think of a nicer souvenir to bring home?
Boys, still at the side of the court, 3-0 for Kenny Rosewall. Jack Kramer, you're the fella 14 years ago when Kenny Rosewall was traveling as an amateur with the Australian Davis Cup team, and Harry Hopman, the captain, had him convinced that there was nothing larger in this world than a $5 bill. And you suddenly showed him all those big denominations and turned him pro.
Right, I think he made the right decision. He started off the first year making about $110,000, and he's been a big wage earner ever since. And a funny thing, when the big money's on the line, Kenny Rosewall always seems to be there ready to collect the biggest check. New balls, love 3, 4th set, Roche to serve.
Oh!
Well, Kenny's favorite president has always been Grover Cleveland because he's on those $1,000 bills. It's the only U.S. president he ever heard of.
Very surprising to see Rosewall go after that ball. He's got a service break here. Point score 15 love. You'd think he'd be just relaxing a little bit. Three love to Rosewall sounds big, but it's only one service break.
Ace. Number 8 for Tony.
Rosewall leads 3-1.
But all Kenny Rosewall's thinking about, just hold 3 more. 3 more to go. That's the thoughts going through his mind. If he can hold 3 serves, he's the U.S. Open champion.
15 love.
And that's hard to do, Bud. The reason being, right, Roche threw in a great big hipper-dipper type topspin, a big loop on it, and Rosewall waited beautifully.
Ace for Kenny Rosewall, number 4.
He's setting a record for aces for himself.
40 love.
That's a month's collection for him sometimes.
Yep, he can play a whole tournament sometimes and not get in an ace. Surprising, the forehand of Roche, which is his strength, has been the one that's let him down in this set. He hasn't been able to make any of the passing shots that get open. Missed again.
4-1 for Kenny Rosewall. We'll have more of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships from Forest Hills coming up in just a moment.
Rosewall.
The simple things mean a lot out here. A dry blanket, hot cup of coffee, a good smoke.
You get a lot to like with a Marlboro filter flavor pack or
box. Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
Tony Roche serving. He had a lot of chalk, but Sid Neiman on the center line says it was a fault.
Out. 15 love.
Kenny Rosewall, 5 feet 7.5, 137-pounder.
Might point out, Bud, that in the corner that Rosewall's in now, we have the shadow.
30 love. Out. 40 love.
Two more chances for Tony. or the next time, or he's through. As Kenny Rosewall moves toward the title with a service break in the fourth, he's leading 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 4-2.
Called out. Albumin right on the line.
Just missed. Mike Blanchard called the score.
Yep.
Love 15 at first and gave Roche some hope, but quickly caught his error. It is 15 love for Rosewall. And the points are running out on Roche. He got a break. A net cord shot.
He's been trying that shot all the time in this last set. You know, he likes to normally hit it cross court. Kenny Rosewall's been watching for it, and he's playing it back down the line and missing it. So he has to get a let ball to get it in the court. Fine serve.
30-15.
Whenever Ken can put that much slice and get the angle, get Tony way out, he gets in there.
4-2. 30, 30, 50.
He's all right.
30-all.
But I think that was ill-advised on Kenny Rosewall to stay back on that 30-15 point. We saw Roche really come in on him. He's got to come in on that serve. Surprise! What a serve.
Terrific serve.
40-30.
Taking Kenny to the game point now. The game for a 5-2 lead. Will return to Forest Hills with more of the U.S. Open Championships in just a minute. Rosewall receiving. The shadows lengthening and the time running out for Roche. He's in championship game. Must hold serve to stay in the match, and must break Rosewall in the next game, if there is a next game.
You know, Tony Roche has a real problem. He knows he has to hold serve, but his mind is really on the next game. He feels, how am I going to try to break serve? And sometimes, this lack of concentration, he can go out of the match here.
30-15.
Good serve. Then he doesn't agree with the call.
Titus Sparrow of Boston hit for the third time today by a hard serve.
Beauty.
40-30.
Rosewall tenacious. He'd like to have it right here in this game if he could.
Just out.
So it comes
leads 5 games to 3.
down to this game for Kenny Rosewall, 35. They said he couldn't win another major title anymore. He tried so much at Wimbledon, came close, lost the final. He can serve it out right here. The winner 14 years ago. Never been anything like it in American tennis. 14 years between titles. Starts badly.
Love 15.
Checking back on the service games that Kenny's lost, it's the opening point. When he loses that one, it gives Roche the chance. He's going to have to go for an outright winner right now.
Missed it, wide.
15-all.
Kenny Rosewall, the city kid from Sydney, against the country boy, Tony Roche, out of the bush, Tarcutta, little town of 200 people. Wide.
Rosewall mishit that one.
15-30.
He was going for the cross court, and Roche was really traveling in that direction. Kenny took his eye off the ball.
15-30 point. Critical to both. Out. Roche is wide with it.
30-all.
Jason Smith, seated on the line, gets a glare from Tony Roche and whistles from some of the crowd. It's 30-all.
And 2 points from the championship for Ken Rosewall.
Tremendous return.
30-40.
And what a time for Kenny not to elect to play that volley. He was right on it. Thought I guess it was going to go out.
Roche needing a return. Against the tape, and it won't budge.
What a disposition. A lot of people would really blow their top, having come so close to break that serve back. He just digs in and goes harder.
Lets it go, and it's long.
Advantage, Roche.
Another break point for Tony Roche. Rosewall, showing us everything out of all these years of experience.
Bud, they've gone over the 2-hour mark. 2 hours and 2 minutes for the match. Point match now.
Advantage, Rosewall.
Now Kenny Rosewall. One swing, possibly, away from the title. $20,000. He has the advantage. Kenny Rosewall.
Well, Bud,
let's see that match point, Jack.
Take the match point as Kenny Rosewall serves for the championship. A nice return by Tony Roche. Very nice. Back to the forehand. Here comes the forehand down the line, and look at this volley. And that does it for $20,000 and the championship, and what a happy kid.
Kenny Rosewall coming back like the ghost of Christmas past. 1956, the last time when he stopped Lou Hode's Grand Slam attempt. Hode had won the top 3. Came in here, Rosewall beat him. Then he turned pro. He became the best player in the world after a while. Roche, the loser. Nobody knew about it because Rosewall was a pro. playing one-night stands under the rocks like the pros were doing in those days. Now both pros, and what can Rosewall be thinking about when they said he was too old, Jack, ever to do this again?
Well, I'll tell you, he's mighty happy, and I know all the fans in Australia, particularly his very charming, pretty wife, Wilma, and the kids.
Right on the button.
Got to be a very, very happy young man. You know, I go back to this boy in 1946, where I watched he and Lou Hode play an exhibition, and I was leaning out the back window of a locker room in a little club outside of Sydney, and I don't think this young fella was hardly even around in those days, Tony Roche.
No.
But Kenny Rosewall, on that occasion, showed Ted Schroeder and myself that he figured to be a world's champion someday, but to come back and win the U.S. Open at 35, he joins Wilmer Allison, who is 35, to have won here. Bill Tilden, I believe, won his last championship, one of 7, and when he was 37, so maybe Kenny Rosewall shooting for that record, but a great performance. And what a day for sports on CBS. Tonight, they present the last NFL preseason game before launching a full schedule of regular season games starting Sunday, September 20th. Tonight, you'll see the New York Jets take on the Dallas Cowboys in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time.
Kenny Rosewall, who has won the U.S. Pro Championship on 3 occasions. And
Ladies and gentlemen,
now the U.S. Open. Alistair Martin at the microphone.
To you, the gentleman who put on this wonderful event, Mr. Joe Coleman.
Alistair Martin, the president of the USLTA, introducing Joe Coleman, general chairman of the tournament.
Thank you, Alistair Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tremendous honor for me to be able to present to the men's singles finalists the trophies for this tournament. But before I do that, I want to pay tribute to the man who was really responsible for the great tournament we've had this time. That is the man that had the courage and the imagination to introduce the now famous sudden death tiebreaker, and the man who had the imagination and wisdom to open up the field courts so the public, for the first time, could get close views of the players in the early rounds in action. This was a tremendous innovation and tremendous factor in the success of the tournament. I want to say also that this tournament is historic, in my opinion, in many ways. Not only did we have the greatest field, the greatest tennis, the greatest players, but the greatest crowds.